All right.
All right.
This is the Domestic Draft Podcast. I'm Evan Bierman here with Dan Slug. We also have a special guest, Eric Bierman, coming on later to talk some Bears with us. It is Tuesday, August 10th. What's going on, man?
Episode 25. Ready to go.
25. Let's do it. What are you drinking?
Crack them open. I have a IPA from the brewery called Coronado Brewing. It's here in San Diego. It is one of the oldest breweries around in San Diego. I believe it was like one of 7 when it first opened its doors in 1996. And now there's like around like 200 breweries in San Diego. So it's been around for a while, but they're still producing some high quality beer. This one I have is a IPA. Like I said, it's called Weekend Vibes. It actually won bronze at the American Beer Festival in 2019 for American Style Indian Pale Ale.
Wow.
And yeah, and it's got a 3.81 on Untapped. It's supposed to just be like the quintessential San Diego IPA. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a drink here.
Nice. Quintessential San Diego IPA. Is that what you said?
Yeah, like West Coast San Diego style.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And like the little caption here about it online is bursting with tropical dankness. This beer is everything you want from a San Diego style IPA. It's bright, bursting with hop fruitness, refreshingly dry. Crack one open, get ready to feel those weekend vibes. Yeah, it's really good for somebody who like I don't really always grab the IPAs or reach for them. And this is actually easy drinking, fruit forward, like it says, and not overly bearing. Like the hops don't punch you in the face at all.
Nice. Think you're getting used to those West Coast IPAs now, huh?
I've had a couple in my time out here. What about you? What do you got?
I've got, this is Prairie Street Brewing Company. This is out of Rockford, Illinois. Rockford doesn't suck. You suck. This is a peach wheat beer. Give it another sip here. You definitely get the peaches on there. I think it's a little bit too tart for me. But, and I'm not really a peach person, but overall, if you like peach, I think you'd love this beer. It's got a 3.63 on Untapped. It's a wheat ale infused with peach puree, crafted in honor of the Rockford peaches. And what do you know about the Rockford peaches, Dan?
Hey, league of their own. Dottie, right? Dottie, little, yeah.
I don't know why I never connected the dots there, that it's Rockford, Illinois, that they were one of the founding
Rockford peaches.
Yeah, one of the original teams.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
they weren't really too far out to be connected. They're right there for you.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So, and then so a little bit more about Prairie Street Brewing. Actually, in 1849, it's a little Rockford history for you. Englishman Jonathan Peacock immigrated to Rockford, Illinois, to craft beer in the same riverside building Prairie Street Brewing Company is brewing in today. So if you go out to Rockford, check out Prairie Street Brewing Company. It is a pretty massive, like warehouse-looking building along the river. Good views, which are hard to come by in Rockford sometimes. But there is like a dock there. They do events, weddings, things like that. So it's a pretty massive spot. They got the brew pub in there.
I've been here. The way you were just the way you're describing it, and I've gone to like a couple weddings up there, and trying to kill time or in between, like where do you go out there? Yeah, I've been there. That place, it's a really really cool building right on the river there.
Fan.
Yeah, beer's good.
The beer is good. So that's a little bit of Rockford history for you. If you're living in the city and you don't know much about Rockford, if you get out there, go to Prairie Street Brewing Company. No free ads. I saw something today that I don't know if you got a chance to look at this, that I thought was super interesting.
What's that?
There was a list somebody posted on Twitter, or not a list, a chart of that Americans are more confident than Britons that they could beat any animal in a fight.
Yeah, that just, I mean,
does this surprise you at all?
Does not surprise me one bit. No.
Okay. So some of the animals that were listed on here, and they give percentages of Americans. It was out of a study that a couple thousand people. 9% of Americans think they could beat up a crocodile. Does that just blow your mind that there's 9% of people that think that
You don't
they
think you could do it? I think I can get in there and wrestle one down to the ground.
It's got lion and elephant, 8% for both of those. So
That's wild.
There's people out there that think they could take down an elephant.
What does that even look like?
hands.
What constitutes wrestling an elephant? You're just like climbing on it at that point.
Unarmed, yeah. You're unarmed, it says.
And you gotta like
gorilla,
kill it,
lion,
kill it.
elephant,
Like, what do you
8%.
do? You're trying to like kill it with your bare hands.
Beat it in a fight. That's what it says.
Like, what is the elephant gonna throw in the white towel? Like, you got this one, man. Like, what does beating an animal in a fight even look like?
I have no idea. But so they have the like score for the Britons, which is like obviously reasonable. It's like 2% of people, like a couple assholes that just trying to be funny or whatever.
Yeah.
But one of them was goose, and there's only 45% of Britons say they could beat up a goose. 61% of Americans say they could beat up a goose. So where do you stand in that? Do you think you could beat up a goose?
I beat up a goose? Yeah, I could beat up a whole gaggle of geese.
Wow, that's
it wouldn't stand a chance. I do remember from times growing up fishing, geese attacking my bait, and I'm having like putting my shoe out there and trying to eat my shoe. I could take a goose.
At this point in your life, you think you could take a goose?
At this point in my life, I could take a goose. I got a little long in the tooth. I think I can get some strategy around that goose and be able to take it down.
All right. So into more interesting topics.
I saw one thing today too, before we get to that.
Okay.
Dennis Schroeder. Okay. And then we'll talk Bulls after this. So we'll kind of lead right into it. Dennis Schroeder, point guard, was for the Lakers this last year, and he got offered an extension in the middle of the season to remain a Laker at about 4 years, $88 million was this offer. And at the time, he declined that, thought he would outplay that, thought he would reach free agency, and he would get a huge payday. Dennis Schroeder sucked the remaining half of the season. He played awful in the playoffs. He wasn't able to score. He's not a shooter and just looked lost out there. Gambled on himself. And the contract he received just today from the Boston Celtics, again, a 4-year, $88 million extension offer. The contract he got in free agency this year, talk about bet on yourself. 1 year, $5.9 million. Guy just threw away $73 million because he thought he would outplay it. That's just, what do you think about that?
That's absolutely insane. I mean, he's never been, a stud, but I remember seeing him on some of the lists like mid-season last year about, this could be a Bulls guy next year as a, we need a guard, whatever.
Right.
And yeah, he sucked the second half of the season there.
Do you just like fire everybody like that is advising you? Or do you think this was his call? And like his agents are like, dude, we told you, man. Like, take the $80 million contract. But I thought that was wild.
Yeah, I would be surprised if his agent told him not to take that first deal. And
how gutted.
Yeah, that's just awful.
Like 4 months later, you just left $73 million on the table.
Yeah. Absolutely brutal. Terrible.
All right, so sticking with NBA, let's talk quickly about Summer League. Have you seen or heard anything about the Bulls?
I've seen a couple of highlights on Twitter in the past couple of days. That's about it. I haven't been, tuning in as much. And I know you've been telling me that P. Will has been killing it. And I did see that today there was that nice fast break Iota Simonovic dunk that looked really cool. Hopefully those are a couple second unit guys, and we'll be seeing more of that in the future. But yeah, let me hear it. Lay it on us.
Yeah, they've only had 2 games. They didn't look that great in their first game. Kind of look lost. A lot of turnovers. Summer League basketball is not a great product anyways. It's just a lot of young guys trying to get acclimated to the style of play, to the pace of play. But I watched a fair amount of today's game. And yeah, Pat had 30 points. Pat's looking good. He is the person igniting the offense. So I don't think that's going to be his role come season with all the other players we got on the roster. But yeah, he's got the ball in his hands a lot. He's bringing it up sometimes. He's getting on a fast break. He's doing some pull-up threes. But he's got great footwork. He's looking good. He's looking strong. And it's crazy to think that he's 20, put up a 30 spot, pretty much dominated the closing of this game to put the Bulls up. Marco, this awesome. Yeah, yeah. It's
I mean, that's
which
just
is like
great
right?
to hear. Yeah, because if that wasn't happening, then I feel like you're a little concerned. But now when you know that he's just blowing everybody out in summer league, like, okay, this guy is who they thought he was, when they drafted him. So that's good to
Yeah.
hear.
I'd still like temper expectations just a little bit.
Mhm.
Because it doesn't look great all the time. There's still it's a little sloppy play here and there. He's throwing up like 20 shots a game, and I don't think that's going to be his volume in the season. But it is good to see that he is getting that kind of time to do it, right? To figure out if he can be that guy who can lead a team. Finally getting fresh eyes on Marco Simonovic. I think it's Simonovic. And actually, I'm really impressed with his athleticism. He moves really well. He's close to 7 feet. I think he's around like 6'10", but he moves really well. He's fast. He runs the floor. He's got good footwork. He's got good hands. He does look a little weak. He's been posterized a couple times, but I mean, he put up 13 and 5 today, and I believe it was 5 for 5 from the field goal. So didn't miss a shot. Looks good there. And Io, our rookie that we drafted, again, not much of an offensive player, but did the things that I thought he would be capable of doing. Is really scrappy on the defensive end. He was able to like ignite a couple fast breaks and just do a lot of the little things, the dirty work and stick his nose in there and kind of.
Can he pass?
Yeah. He's a smart player. He's not a great passer yet, but he can be. He can totally be that player.
Got the potential. Okay.
But yeah, he's going to be a good role player, hopefully. And then another guy that the Bulls drafted last year or signed, he went undrafted, I think, and they signed him, is Devon Dotson. And he was out of Kansas. He's a smaller, quick guard. And I mean, our guards are just, it's crazy to look at a team who always struggled to find guards now has, Lonzo Ball, Io, Kobe White, Zach, DeMar DeRozan. Like, it's like Caruso. Like, so it's quite the opposite of where we were the last couple of years. So other roster moves, they officially renounced their rights or declined any options for Felicio, pouring out there.
Yeah, right.
I believe he can't. I mean, it's not his fault the Bulls gave him that money. I mean, it's 100% the Bulls' fault. So good for him to get paid like that and then bounce back. He's going to Europe, I think, and he's going to play over there. And then Denzel Valentine is no longer on the Bulls. So, yep, that's about it. That's what I got for the Bulls. And got an article, wrote it up. I was just proofreading before we started, so that should be up on the website soon.
So what do you think about all that tampering nonsense with Lonzo? Because that did come up for a bit.
It's ridiculous. It is so ridiculous that the NBA wants to play this little game when there is like tampering going on league wide for years and years, like 80 to the Lakers. How do you think that happened? Like, there's an article today, I forget who published it, might have been like Mark Stein or something, saying that now pretty much free agency when it starts is pretty much the end of it. Like all the behind the scenes negotiations have already started. Contracts have been offered. I believe even former Bull like Daniel Tice, draft night, a source leaked out his contract to another one. And this is becoming like public information now that like that was a deal that was already done at draft night. So for them to single out the Bulls, I hope AK and Mark Eversley are going to be like smart enough to find dirt on like the Lakers. So be like, oh, you're going to come after us? Well, hey, this is what we know the Lakers did and you're golden boy LeBron. So, come to us and we'll spill it and you're going to look like an idiot. Mm-hmm. I hope it's kind of something like that. And this kind of goes away, or at the most, maybe like a future second round pick. But I think it's absolute horseshit that they're coming after the Bulls because every fucking GM, every team tampers, they talk behind closed doors, private messages, players, like this is just how the league works now. And they should it's like ridiculous to think that teams aren't going to talk to agents or players or people of the same like bubble or circle to get an interest to gauge if they're going to be able to sign this player or not. It's stupid that to sit on your hands. Yeah. Because of how competitive it's been and how it's such a players league now. So players are going to be talking to each other. It's
right. You're not going to get a superstar to come there if they don't have a guarantee that there's going to be another one coming there already, or another one, three, getting a big three together. I mean, yeah, it's the players have all the power, in my opinion. These guys will sign big multi-year deals, and then a year or two into it, just say, no, this isn't really working out, and complain enough. Or in James Harden's case, what did he just like got fat somehow and then lost some weight? I don't know what happened there, but he was just like, yeah, I'm sick of this shit. And he left, and they had to trade him, and they got like nothing, back for him. And that's just the way it goes. And you just ride it out when you have a superstar. And when you do get that opportunity, you got to do this type of shit. You got to tamper, you got to, figure out what you can do before the league year opens, because everyone else has already done that. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I mean, I totally get it. It's bullshit that the Bulls got singled out. It was the Bulls and somebody else. I don't know if it was San Antonio or something like that, but they only singled out like two teams. So that was just stupid when I saw that as well.
Yeah, and the only thing I know of recent of last year, there was tampering with Milwaukee was supposed to sign Bogdan Bogdanovic, but then they said there was tampering, so he went back and he ended up signing with Atlanta. But the Bulls already announced all their sign and trades, which is like genius that the Bulls, like not having a lot of cap space, being able to pull off all these sign and trades to like equalize their books to make sure they're all good. Mm-hmm. It just shows like to have a competent front office, like it. You're seeing it. This is an offseason like we haven't had in such a long time. No way Garpax are figuring out ways to get these guys on board with sign and trades. It's not fucking happening. Not happening.
No way. No. And I don't think they would ever made that deal for Vooch either last year and had, the foresight to know that this is what the plan is and kind of stick to it. And I think they were planning for this all along, and it worked out perfectly to this point.
And that's
there's still one big question on it. The team is Laurie, right? And there's still no decision on that. Do you have a guess as to what happens with him?
Yeah, they're going to sign and trade him. But I think the ball's really in the Bulls front office court now, because Laurie thought he was going to have more interest. He thought he was going to have more bidders, and it's kind of turning out almost like a Dennis Schroeder situation to where it's kind of quiet right now. And that makes the Bulls, have the ball in their court, and they're going to be able to maybe sign him for a more affordable option to be able to take back a more expensive player or maybe some draft picks. So we'll see. I'd be really shocked. He came out to a Finnish reporter and said he really doesn't want to come back to Chicago. He would love to be traded. He wants to start his career over in a different place. So he's pretty much out the door, which again gives more leverage to the Bulls, not his camp, because he's already saying he doesn't want to come back. So we'll see what happens there. I think with the recent track record of this front office, I think they're going to be able to get a good return for him. But it's interesting. I'm going to be sad to see him go, but
yeah, I know you're a big fan of him. Yeah. So, I mean, we're excited to see where the Bulls go, and we'll keep an eye on it. Obviously, Dan's going to put that article out. Keep an eye out for that. It's on our website, www.domesticdraft.com. With that being said, let's bring Eric Bierman, our Bears Insider and Bears writer, on to talk Bears preseason. Eric, what's going on?
Not much. What's going on, guys?
Go Bears! Getting excited, man. Getting excited. A lot of things are happening. I mean, we got a preseason game this weekend.
Sure do. Yeah. Noon start. Don't forget about it.
Say it again.
Noon start. Don't forget about it.
So, just to fill us in where the Bears are. I've been here and there. I know I see the Justin Fields sidearm like throws and all the pictures of him coming out, but really that's just one position. I'm curious about the line. I'm curious about how the wideouts are looking, the edge rushers, linebackers, second. Like, let's go through the whole thing. And
where do you want to start?
Let's talk our draft pick who hasn't practiced yet, Tevin Jenkins.
Tevin Jenkins. All right. So he missed his 11th practice today, right?
11 straight. Yeah.
It's not good.
How are you guys feeling? Are you panicking or no?
Yeah.
I think 11 straight practices for a back issue for a big guy like that. I think to me that's concerning, but that's, outside looking in. And Dan and I think both are of the mindset that that's why he dropped to the second round. And, it looked like a steal at the time, but now you're looking at, and he's got this back issue. And is this bigger concern than draft day? What do you think?
Potentially. I think for right now, though, I mean, it's not even week 1 of the preseason yet. I mean, we're getting there, but we haven't even played game 1 yet of the preseason. So I'm going to give him another couple of weeks before I start to freak out. Sure, it sucks that we don't have any of our line at training camp right now, right? Mm-hmm. But first and foremost, let's just get him healthy, and then we'll go from there, right?
Yeah. No, I'm freaking out. I just don't like the history of this team with high draft picks where it's like, oh, they're just working out the kinks of an injury like Kevin White, right? No, you just got to let it heal a little bit. He'll be back. We'll ramp him up, and then he gets hurt again. Like, just go out there. You're a high round draft pick. You should just be ready to go and practice. And for him to miss the first 11 practices with a back issue is highly concerning for a position where you're just moving around weight the whole entire time. Very, very concerned.
Let's
These are
say
valuable
if he
reps,
gets
too.
in by the second preseason game, if he's in there playing some sort of snaps, whether it be a couple, whether it be a whole series, a whole quarter, are we gonna be okay, or are we still gonna be kind of?
Well, it
Yeah.
depends how he looks, because you're playing against backups in the second preseason game. You're playing against backups and guys that are on the roster bubble. Like, this is a guy that they
Right.
plan to have.
I'm talking purely about his back though.
If he's out there the second week of preseason and then goes out there the third week and plays again back-to-back games, I'm feeling a whole lot better.
Yeah.
If he goes out there, doesn't do well, and then is injured again for the next practice, misses the next week, and he's monitoring it, then I'm just even more concerned.
Right. But
Mhm.
we also don't want to rush him back too soon though, because that's only going to further the issue then.
Yeah.
But the issue in it itself is scary, and it was not known. For some,
that's true.
you know what I mean? Like, to come in and not practice as a rookie is not good.
Yeah. I'm just saying those are like really valuable reps for an inexperienced O-line. We needed that guy out there from the get-go, going up against our stud D-line. I think those are just valuable reps that he's missing out on. And he's not like a veteran where it's like, okay, he got in some reps in the second preseason game, he'll be good to go week one. Like, you need to establish chemistry with the rest of the line, I think, for that position. So I think that's tough.
What's the line even look like right now? We got Whitehair, and then who else? Fetty.
So the interior is still the same as last year, albeit Daniels is returning, right? So we'll still have Daniels, Mustafa, Whitehair on the inside, and then potentially Fetty or Larry Borum out at right tackle. And then we're hoping for Jenkins to be ready to play left tackle to start the season.
Okay. And has Borum been getting reps at left tackle right now with Jenkins out?
I have seen him getting some reps there, yes.
Okay.
I've also seen Latavius Simmons. Remember him from, was it last year, 2 years ago? I think a seventh rounder.
Yep.
Okay.
He's been getting some reps there too. So we'll see how that pans out.
And Borum again was our 5th round pick out of Missouri, I believe, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
So
that's just
state of the O-line. It is a little
not
bit
good.
concerning.
It's not good. And that's like, it's such a unit too in the game of football. Like, your O-line needs people are like next man up. We could shuffle around, but a good O-line is just like consistent. You're able to rely on those people. You look to your left, look to your right. You should know what that person next to you is going to do, right? And then for them not to have those people in there practicing, to have people hurt, to then work on the chemistry. You got a rookie. It's just where you want to have your strength is on the line, right? And to have that is like with playoff aspirations, right? It's concerning. But yeah, let's move around. We can go to the other side of the ball maybe and just look at the D line here. Are we going to have any production out of Quinn this year?
Out of Quinn, yes, I think so. I think people are going to change their tune on him this year. I think he's due for a bounce back here, and maybe lived up to some of that contract that he signed for.
Okay. I'm pulling up the Bears unofficial depth chart was released today, I believe, right? Was it today
Correct.
or yesterday? Okay, it was today. And he's listed as the starting outside linebacker. So they must have some confidence in him that he's going to come back out and actually do something this year.
No confidence. He's just got a price tag. He's got to be out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see. Who do you think starting? We got Jalen Johnson on the one side. Who do you think is going to be the other starting corner?
Well, the depth chart had
Vildor,
go
right?
ahead. Yeah, they have Vildor listed as number 2. I like Vildor coming out of college. He's a smaller cornerback, but he plays big, right? So he likes to challenge himself by playing these bigger receivers, and most of the time he shut them down, at least while he was in college. So if Trufant doesn't snag that cornerback 2 position, I think Vildor is going to be the man that takes it.
Okay, so that's a good training camp battle, I guess, to watch.
Yeah.
Would you say between those two? because I thinking Trufant was going to be in there. But that's interesting that Vildor's on the unofficial depth chart as the cornerback too. Moving around a little bit, what do we think about see Marquis Goodwin listed in there as the wide receiver 3? Is that any surprise?
I don't think so. I think there's been talks of him and Demir Bird taking that slot role that's now left vacant from Anthony Miller. But we're gonna have A-Rob and Mooney on the outside, and I think Goodwin as our 3 is pretty solid. No.
Yeah, I think then you're talking Goodwin in the slot. I don't really know if that's going to, I kind of feel like Robinson's going to play some slot this year, and you're going to see Mooney and Goodwin on the outside. Is that?
Well, they've been talking about potentially moving A-Rob inside too. So you might see some shuffling, but it's going to be those 3, I think, the entire year.
Okay. And so what does that say about Riley Ridley? Is this just, we're done with him?
It's tough to say at this point. I mean, I think we've given him plenty of opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping that he'd kind of pan out like his brother Calvin, but I guess that's wishful thinking, right? Who knows?
Yeah. We'll see what kind of chemistry he builds with whoever the quarterback is, if we got anything there.
Yeah. And then the last thing I saw on this depth chart that I thought was interesting was that Cole Kmet was listed in front of Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Awesome.
I was really intrigued by that. I don't know if there's something going on with Jimmy or if Cole Kmet's going to be the starter. I really don't know.
I think that's just saying that this is Kmet's year. I think his coming out party, and they've got a lot of confidence in him. He was our first draft pick last year, right? In the second round, because we didn't have a first round pick. And I think they're saying, all right, this is our guy now. And no surprise, I think he's going to get more playing time than Graham does. Don't you think?
I mean, I hope he does. I think it'd be smarter to go younger here.
Yeah, I think
at that position.
I think Jimmy Graham's going to be heavily relied on in the red zone, and probably that he might just be kind of clued in there.
I think we'll see Jimmy more in the red zone, and we're going to see Kmet out in the longer distances and maybe around midfield, stuff like that. But it's tough to completely ignore Jimmy's size and his hands in the red zone. So he'll be a weapon down there for sure.
Okay.
A guy I've been hearing a lot of buzz around camp, who's making some people miss, who's looking kind of very elusive out there, Damien Williams out of the backfield, being maybe that scat back, taking over for Tariq Cohen, and really being that change of pace from Montgomery. Do you think he's going to stick around and kind of be that 1-2 punch of Montgomery and Williams?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a rotation of the 3 of them, with Montgomery getting the bulk of the carries, and as we're slowly bringing back, Cohen, Williams is going to get out there and take much more of the passing duty, at least early on. And then I think later in the season, you'll see those 2, Cohen and Williams, kind of in and out.
Is Cohen still on the pup?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a couple more. They're trying to bring him back slowly, just because of that, ACL tear last year. I don't think he's fully recovered yet. So
right.
I think in a couple of weeks, I think you'll see him on the field more.
Nice.
So go ahead.
I was just going to say my follow-up here, not really a follow-up, my question, as I'm just looking at the depth chart that Evan was talking about, our defense is getting a little old. And some of our big names are getting a little old on defense. Do you think this team still has what it takes to be a top-tier defensive team in the NFL?
Yeah, I certainly we do. I mean, I think Quinn's going to bounce back. I really do. We got Khalil Mack still out there, right?
Yeah.
Eddie
Goldman coming back.
Front. Goldman's coming back, like you said. Our defensive line is just going to be – they're going to be great this year, all right? And I think with that much talent up front, you don't necessarily need as much talent in the back, even though we do have, Jalen Johnson out there. I think Vildor is going to be pretty solid.
Yeah, you still got Eddie Jackson out there playing center field.
Yeah, we still got Eddie Jackson out there. Trevathan's getting a little older up there, but they did bring in Alec Ogletree. I think
He's been a
Actually,
stud.
Yeah.
Man.
welcome signing. He's got 6 picks already.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah,
Ogletree.
I think they brought him in last year. I don't know if it was for a tryout or what, but he got another shot this year, and he actually stuck around. So it's good to see him taking the ball away.
He just keeps picking off Nick Foles. Just keeps picking off Nick Foles. So like on this depth chart, we've got Khalil Herbert as the kick returner and Demir Bird as the punt returner. Daz Newsome obviously has missed a lot of time. He is towards the back end of the wide receiver group here. So I don't really think, I mean, had he got the time, I don't know that he'd be up there with the wide receivers anyways. I think they kind of drafted him as a return man. But he is listed as the 3rd string punt returner and not on the kick return at all. So I don't know if we're going to see much Daz this year. Do you think, is that your opinion as well?
Not necessarily. I think in 4 wide receiver sets, you may see him out there. I don't think we'll see him on kickoff return just because he had that broken collarbone, right? Maybe punt returning occasionally, but I think for now he's going to be more of a special teams guy.
Okay. And I think it's going to be fun to see Khalil Herbert out there anyways on the kick return. And then
Yeah.
Demir Bird is the punt returner. And then the 2nd string punt returner is Darnell Mooney, who I'd love to see return some punts as well. So that should be fun to watch those guys out there. But the first preseason game, like you said, is this Saturday at noon, right? And they're playing the Dolphins.
Central
playing
time.
Dolphins.
Central time.
Noon Central.
Yeah.
They're having the Dolphins over at Hallis this week, right? They're doing that cross practice where the Miami's going to be at their facilities.
I
No,
believe so.
right.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why they're no longer in Bourbonnais is this is kind of some of the perks of having a nice facility. You have more lodging available because if you're inviting a whole entire football team to Bourbonnais, Illinois, you're kind of limited there. So
Yeah.
this is in my recent memory one of the first times the Bears have invited a team to kind of do that cross practice with them and play on a Saturday or on a Sunday or Saturday.
I'm trying to think of the last team we practiced with. Either of you guys remember? I want to say it was the Broncos, but
and we went there for sure. It was yeah. I think it was the Broncos because it was John Fox was the coach, and that was like he had that little relationship there. Yeah,
interesting.
Makes me think of a fight, but I don't really remember.
Yeah,
makes me think of Hard Knocks, which actually comes back today on the 10th. So that'll be something I'll be keeping an eye on. It's the Cowboys. If you watch Hard Knocks, that should be fun.
As we're sitting here kind of on the start of the preseason, getting ready for the regular season, Cakes, let's get your take. Let's get a hard take on when Justin Fields is going to be the starter, what week, and record, 17-week game schedule. What's the overall record at the conclusion of the season?
All right, so let's start with Fields. I mean, obviously I want him to go out there and start week 1. I've been watching way too many Twitter clips of him and just showing off the arm, showing off the leg, all of it. I'd love to see him out there week 1, but I really think that Nagy and company are going to try and keep him, until like week 2, week 3, somewhere around there, I think is when we're going to see him take over the position. As far as record goes, we have a tougher schedule this year. I want to say it's a middle of the road team. I really want to say it's like a 9-8, maybe a 10-7 team. Let's not get disgruntled. All right, if we don't make the playoffs, we still have a promise here in Justin Fields for the next decade. All right, so I think we're going to be a middle of the road team, honestly.
Okay.
All right.
That's not doesn't give me a lot of confidence in this year, but would you say 9-8 is a successful year for bringing in a rookie quarterback and getting, his feet?
Has Nagy had a losing season?
He has not. So that's why I'm just starting them at 9-8 or 10-7.
Which is wild to think about with all the shit he gets.
Yes.
Hasn't had a losing season,
yes.
But
And
people want him fired.
Potentially better quarterback play, so we'll see.
All right, man. Thanks for kind of coming on, chopping it up with us for the Bears. Really, once you see the pads on, you see like contact football being played, especially in a Bears uniform, it gets you excited, gets you ready to go. And
Yeah, right.
I am just, I'm chomping at the bits here to get some Bears football.
100%. Thanks again, Eric. Really appreciate you coming on, filling us in with some of the Bears training camp information. Thanks, man.
Glad to be here, guys. Don't forget Saturday at noon.
Saturday noon.
Central,
put it on your calendar.
Central,
Central.
please. Some of us are out here on the West Coast. I'll be drinking my morning coffee, watching it. It's gonna be great. All right, Evan, you want to talk Cubs real fast?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'm going to go over the starting lineup today. We had Bodie leading off, Duffy batting second, Wisdom was third, Schwindel playing first, batting fourth, Ortega fifth, Chirinos, our catcher, batting sixth, Fargus out and right, batting seventh, Roman batting eighth, our shortstop, and Alec Mills on the bump. And that is talking Cubs. All right.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
Leave it at that. So the last thing I want to talk about here real quick is this new fantasy football league I joined. This is a doozy, man. I did not know what I was getting myself into, but it's everybody has their one league that goes a little bit over the top, I think. And this one seems to be one of those of that ilk. So like the loser wears a dress and puts everyone's draft picks up on the board at the draft. Okay, that's
just a little
pretty
strange.
Yeah, it's a little non-standard, but okay. This is a 14-team league. They trade draft picks, so some people are just loaded up with first-round draft picks. But the most interesting thing about it is that there's a full-blown bylaws document that is about 10 to 15 pages long. 15 articles. It's written like a legal document with like an index. There's a website that has league updates. They rent out an Airbnb every year that has 14 big leather chairs that everyone gets a comfortable spot to draft. And then all the trash talking is done over a Slack channel. And then, there's a trophy that's a replica Lombardi trophy. So I'm like, okay, this is a fantasy draft. This is how it's done. Welcome to the show.
You think so?
Oh my
That's
God.
how it's done. That's yeah.
That's
okay. That's one way to do it.
Yeah.
Bylaws, legal documents. Did you have to sign something to join this league, like a non-disclosure?
I'm surprised I didn't. But yeah, this should be interesting. We'll see, where this one goes. I'm excited about it. And
if you don't come back from the draft, we'll send help. We'll send help. No, that sounds insane. Pretty competitive. What's any crazy rules or roster? Do they have 4 flexes or anything like that? Head coach position?
No, nothing crazy like that. I mean, quarterbacks, it's 6-point passing touchdowns, a little bit different, but for the most part, all the statistics are pretty much the same. It's a keeper league, but you can only keep guys that you draft and hold the whole year on your roster. So it kind of incentivizes everyone to keep the players on their roster. It's also fab, which I've never done. Surprisingly, that's where you bid on players instead of a waiver order. So we'll see how that goes as well. Hopefully I don't get last because I do not want to be wearing a dress. But if that is the case, I will post it on our website so you guys can all see. So I'll keep everyone updated on that.
Right on. We got our podcasting fantasy draft coming up here too, right?
Yeah, the fantasy draft for the Fantasy Football League of Podcasts, the Flop League, is on the 31st. We got all the podcasts already signed up, so we're ready to go. We're going to do a little live, draft with them. I guess online draft over Zoom, but it should be fun. And we'll keep everyone updated on the results of that. And then we can, kind of discuss all the different podcasts that are on this. So I'm excited for that.
Sounds like fun. Before we go, who is going to score the most fantasy points this coming football season? What player is going to be the number one player? Kyler Murray, my keeper.
I was going to say Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to have a resurgence from a couple of years ago. I think he was the top player.
I don't think he will. I think he's going to continually decline. I think the book's out on him. And
Yeah, you think
he's
COVID
not going
hitting
to
him twice?
he's not going to be able to, no, not COVID, just like the style of play. He's going to be able to COVID's keeping him down. No, there's no way he's ever going to repeat that year he had when he won the MVP, right?
Yeah,
that's a good one though. Yeah, quarterbacks are usually pretty valued. You think McCaffrey's going to play a whole season?
I do. Yeah, I think he's going to play the whole year.
And then I would say my
I think
third.
Dalvin Cook's interesting as well. I think he's a really good player that hasn't stayed healthy for a full 16. So I guess this would be 17, but he's never stayed healthy for every game. It's tough to do as a running back, but I think if he does it, he could challenge McCaffrey for RB1.
Yeah. I also think Stafford's going to explode in LA. I think he's going to finally be in a franchise in a roster where he's going to explode. And also Tyler Higbee might be up there because he's in LA with Stafford. All right. We'll keep the fantasy talk for the next time after we draft or before we draft and things like that. But I'm getting excited, man. It's football season. It's football season, which is great. It's great. It's a great feeling. Football's back. Can't wait to watch the games. You have some robots fighting each other on screens and arguing if it's a catch or not, looking at a replay for 4 minutes. I really like my favorite way to watch a game by myself. I really I could care less going to a bar or being with a group of friends. I just want to be by myself watching a game and argue with myself and yell about how bad my team's playing or how good my team's playing. And then look at the group text for a little distraction. But that's the way I enjoy watching it.
I like watching that Bird's Nest on a Sunday. Get the wings, get the beer.
Yeah,
that's a great sports.
That's a great vibe.
Isn't that their slogan?
Is it? Yeah.
No, it's Buffalo Wild Wings. No free ads.
Of course.
All right. Well, this was episode 25, man. It was good to see you. Good to hear you.
Yeah, I'll be flying home soon. I'll see you in person here in a couple of weeks, man.
Yeah,
we'll get our fantasy draft going.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
All right.
Thanks again to Eric Bierman for coming on and talking Bears. And, we'll have Eric on maybe in a couple of weeks again to talk some more Bears, but appreciate him coming on. Episode 25 in the books.
We'll see you next week. Cheers.
Peace.